Last podcast on the left is all about the facts. So when Southern New Hampshire University came on as a sponsor, it was time to do some research. Turns out they offer more than 200 online degree programs, and get this, criminal justice and psychology are some of the most popular. Classes have no set meeting times, and tuition rates are some of the lowest in the U.S. Want to learn even more about SNHU? Visit snhu.edu/last. Let's talk about Angie. Angie! Oh, Angie! Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for over 30 years. And they've made it easier than ever to tackle home projects. Their nationwide network has experts in everything from plumbing and landscaping to roofing, remodels, and more. You can read verified reviews and request and compare notes to find your best price. So join the millions of homeowners who use Angie to get the job done well. Download the Angie app today or visit ANGI.com.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Man, all this Old West stuff. It's like trying to work out if I could do that Old West noise.
Yeah, give it a shot.
I can't really do it. It's not bad. It's not. It's really not for a Queens boy. That's not bad.
I'm from the city.
All right, Marcus, what do you got?
Can you do it?
Yeah, hell yeah, fuck. Of course
Yeah,
of
do
course
it.
I can do it. Yeah, okay.
That's awesome. That's loud.
I don't know how to feel.
Are you gonna get kicked out of your apartment?
Yeah, man. Oh, my fucking landlord is it? No, you know what? He owes me. I had to put up with a fucking burst pipe last night, so he fucking owes me.
This is what I'm talking about. I like bitter Marcus.
Welcome to the last podcast on the left, everyone. What a fantastic episode we have for you today. We are on to Billy the Kid, Part 2.
And I want to preface this before Marcus even dives in. This is the story that Marcus was born to tell.
It really is.
This is the story because I didn't fully understand the Lincoln County War and how badass it was until then. And now I'm here. I'm here. I'm a fucking Old West head now.
I grew up, a Westie. Good. No, I grew up with this story. Like I love the Lincoln County War story.
Now my question is that why? And every other documentary series and these historical, the series that we've been doing all summer, we've been doing history series. Why? Only Old West historians dress like they're from the Old West.
Because it's a style that never goes out of fashion. Hello there. As long as people greet one another, there's going to be Westies out there.
It's just a man who looks like me with an even tinier cowboy hat on and like a little neck scarf going like, you wouldn't believe the type of shenanigans that Billy the Kid could get himself into and out of.
You wait until I go through my phase.
And don't forget about the mustache. No one in this earth has a fucking better mustache than a Wild West historian.
That's true.
They all want to be Wyatt Earp so fucking bad.
So bad.
That's all they want in this world.
Well,
More like Wyatt Blurp.
Yes, indeed. They've got to curl something as they contemplate who to kill in town next. All right, let's get on to Part 2 of Billy the Kid.
So when we last left Billy the Kid, he'd found himself in Lincoln County, New Mexico, as a former member of a horse-thieving gang called the Boys. And he was about to participate in a jailbreak to free one of the leaders of the Boys, Jesse Evans.
It is so fun.
I also didn't understand how big Lincoln County was.
Fucking Gannett.
It's really crazy just how much area they took up. It was like I want to say a quarter of New Mexico. Wow. I thought it was just like one little spot.
No, it's the bottom. It's essentially the bottom right corner of New Mexico.
Okay.
Now, in 1877, Lincoln was the largest county in America, territorial or otherwise. Located in southeastern New Mexico and bordering the Texas Panhandle, this gorgeous playground of violence spanned 30,000 square miles. Spread out across that land were relatively new white settlements, established Mexican towns, and the many tribes who made up what was collectively known as the Apache. As such, ethnic tensions were high in Lincoln County when Billy the Kid arrived. But as far as Billy was concerned, he was fluent in Spanish, he defied quote-unquote gringo laws at every turn, and he humiliated law enforcement and military officials by constantly escaping every single time he was arrested.
Certain well-known gringo laws are nothing above mild.
No,
It's
definitely
illegal
not.
to serve anything above mild.
I will never forget one of my most embarrassing white man moments. I walked into the dispensary that I love to go to out here. It's called Roots. And I asked them if they had anything in sativa form that was not jalapeno. Because there was a jalapeno edible that I got. And
said
I
it was
literally
too
told
spicy.
him it was too spicy for me.
not.
And it's an edible. And he looked at me like I was the whitest thing he's ever seen, which is accurate. And I felt shame. And then I ordered the jalapeno, and then I got home and I ate one, and I was like, it is still too hot. But I was shamed into it.
But you like hot foods.
It is just something about the weed. I don't need my candy to be spicy.
Therefore, even before the Lincoln County War to come, Billy the Kid was already becoming a hero to the Hispanic population in New Mexico. In fact, they already had a nickname for Billy, although you might debate as to whether or not it was well-meaning. They called him El Chivato.
Oh, I mean, I'd take it.
What does it mean?
Now, in Caribbean Spanish, El Chivato means snitch.
Oh.
But, on the other hand, fanny means vagina in British English, and doodle is a child's way of referring to a penis in Australia. So words don't always have the same meaning across the language board, you know?
And they say we're American-centric on this show.
What a wonderful way to explain that, Marcus. Thank you.
Of course. But with the help of my native Spanish-speaking wife, we think that to the Mexican Spanish speakers of New Mexico, El Chivato is probably a combination of the word chavo, which means kid, and the word chivo, which means goat, or more accurately, billy goat. Ergo, a more literal translation of Billy the Kid's nickname of El Chivato would be goat child, or Billy Goat the Kid.
That actually makes sense, though, because
Fun.
he was a survivor. He was one of those
Ornery.
people, highly ornery, highly adaptable. Could move into a lot of different scenarios. Made friends and enemies everywhere he went. I also like the other name, which was Belito. That's kind of cute.
Ooh, that's cool, too. Never saw a tin can he didn't want to eat. I love Billy the Goat Kid.
So you'd say he's like the Gabriel Iglesias of Lincoln County.
Sure.
Okay.
The fluffy.
I was thinking that Russell Peters would do well, given all the different sort of ethnic backgrounds. Russell Peters, like
You gave it to a British person again.
Well, Russell
Of all
Peters.
of the fucking things you could give, this is an American story. You gave it to another fucking British person.
Russell Peters is a man of the world, isn't he? Though?
Oh no, he's not British. I'm thinking, who's the guy with the big hair?
We
You're
could do this
thinking
all
of
day.
You're thinking of Russell, the guy with the big hair. Russell
Russell
with the big
Brand.
hair.
Oh yes,
Brand.
all right.
No,
Russell Peters is American. I like him.
Okay, very good. I don't think he is American.
Fuck!
I don't know. Either way.
Now, concerning the violence in Lincoln County, New Mexico, drunken killings and maimings were fairly routine. And when Billy the Kid arrived there, the largest county in America didn't even have a jail. But in
Freedom,
18
man. That's
Yeah.
called freedom, bro.
Yeah, but it's also like it's called being held hostage every time you go out to the bar at gunpoint.
Nah, dog. You gotta be funny,
Sometimes
man.
in
You gotta be
jail-
able to dance on a board, dude. You gotta love to whistle.
Again, you just saw Back to the Future. That is not a documentary.
I mean, it's really close to anarchy out there in the Old West. I mean, New Mexico at this time, like, it's a territorial government, so there are government officials around. But for the most part, yeah, it's there's a lot of anarchy happening out there. There's a lot of people dying. Some people make it, some people don't.
Okay.
But in 1877, the first jail was constructed, and one of the first people to be housed within its walls was Jesse Evans of the Boys, who'd been arrested and caged for horse theft.
I learned a couple of things about horse theft. Do you know that in Pennsylvania it is customary? They made it. One of the main punishments for horse theft was cropping, which is they'd cut your ears off and nail your ears to a fucking post.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Horse theft was very serious, at least personal horse theft. Like what Billy the Kid and the boys were doing, like they were stealing from, extremely wealthy landowners. They were stealing from the military.
It was
But if
business.
it was. But if you stole just some dude's horse, yeah, you get fucking killed or maimed.
I
One of
just
the two.
I just watched the movie Seven, and if you would have stolen that main enemy's horse, he would have been like, "You want to ride the horse?"
Yeah, and then he'd put the horse shoes on you, and then he'd eat all the corn, and then he'd ride you, and he'd be like, "Which this is the sin of not taking an Uber," some bullshit.
So, in the wee hours of the morn, on November 17th, 20 members of the boys, including Billy the Kid, entered the county seat of Lincoln County, which was not so imaginatively also called Lincoln.
These people are Lincoln fans.
Damn. Hell, I grew up in Haskell County. County seat there, Haskell. It's just fucking there. They just sometimes don't feel like it.
Also, I was reading about the nature of this prison where it was just a big hole in the ground that they just put logs on top of.
That's the prison?
This prison was like rough. Like it was a dugout prison, so they had dug a big trench and then they basically stuck iron bars in a trench and then put tar-covered logs on top of it. So you're just outside the New Mexico sun.
Yeah, horrible. A lot of buildings around this time were dugouts. My first ancestors in this area also lived in dugouts. Dugouts were pretty popular around then.
All right.
Now, this jail was a somewhat slapped-together structure, as Henry said, most likely because Lincoln County didn't take the law all that seriously, from what I can tell. So, after the boys and the kid showed up and stuck their guns in the face of the jailer, they were able to knock down the wooden door of the cell containing Jesse Evans with little more than sacks filled with rocks.
You know what's the main thing that what's also was very distinctive about all of this shit? They had a lot of planning. They did a lot of planning for a lot of this shit. Like, they really were fairly organized. And I don't know if it was because a lot of them had just got done fighting the Civil War and were essentially just, like, trained soldiers. But the boys literally were a bunch of children that kind of, like, they gave each other commands and they knew what to do. Like, one would hold up the jailers, the other would go, like, do the big sack of rocks and bash it against the door. Like, it's fun.
Let's not forget when one of the guys, he went a little rogue and he just yelled, "Leroy Jenkins." And then he ran in there and everyone's like, "Oh, God damn it, Leroy."
It's really good.
If you recall what happened.
Good.
That was a fantastic little
It's
video there.
It's a good memory.
Very famous thing for about 10 years ago.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yep, it is an internet meme of sorts.
Yes.
That is seen.
The
Some would
boys.
say played out.
Well, concerning the boys, they're a street gang, just like any other street gang that's existed throughout human history, and they have just as much experience putting shit together and organizing plans as any other street gang, and they have the same success and fail rate as any other street gang.
Okay.
Now, once Jesse Evans was released, the boys resumed stealing livestock, and Billy the Kid did the same, except on his own. He's going solo. About a month after the Evans jailbreak, Billy was caught stealing 2 horses that belonged to an Englishman named John Tunstall.
You will unhand those horses.
Oh my God, what are you going to do?
Maybe I'll hire you.
God damn, I don't want a job.
Hop on my knee.
No.
You young Billy Goat.
Oh no, I don't like to be the boy anymore.
Now, after his arrest, Billy was held in the same jail where the Jesse Evans jailbreak had occurred, and Billy fully expected to get the exact same treatment from the young men that he considered his pals. But as the days piled up, it became obvious that the boys weren't coming.
Why aren't they helping out Billy the Kid?
Because Billy the Kid had people did like him. They did ingratiate themselves to him, but he also was a dude that would also very handily say, like, I'm going to go do my own shit. Peace. Yeah. So he kind of technically broke up with the boys and then kind of did the half expecting thing of like, but come on. Remember last week? Come on.
Yeah, held out with Jesse.
All right.
So Billy the Kid told the jailer that he would testify against the boys in exchange for his own freedom, which put him at odds with his former gang. And his former gang was also about to be at odds with Billy's new employer. See, Billy never testified against the boys because he didn't need to. John Tunstall, the wronged party in Billy's arrest, not only dropped the charges, but also offered Billy a job on his ranch. Because again, the kid was just that charming.
He somehow talked himself out of jail into a job.
That is like if Richard Ramirez breaks into your house and you're like, you know what? We could actually use a cleaning person. Do you want to stay? Do you want to come by on Tuesdays? That is insane. The man committed a felonious act, and they're like, you got what we need here.
Because he did. Because it's like how the FBI hires hackers that break into their systems. It's because, from my understanding, I think it's actually very difficult to steal horses. It seems that it's like you have to like kind of build yourself up to it. You have to be fast. You have to be decisive. You have to figure out how to do it. Also, like how do you take a horse against its will with you someplace? I have no fucking clue how you do that besides just like pull on its pecker until you become its wife.
You put a little carrot in your mouth, and then the horse eats a little carrot, and then you guys kiss.
See, that's worse than touching its penis.
No, it's not. And then the horse says, that kiss was pretty nice. And then he says, you know what? You don't even have to take me. You can have me.
I hate this. That I dislike.
Well, it's funny. It's Henry's is a physical affair and Ben's is an emotional affair.
Yes, I feel like mine is more cut and dry. It's more transactional.
Pull on his pecker.
But he needed these guys. Well, because also the nature of these businesses were like, it's all half legal, half illegal.
Yeah. Now, unbeknownst to Billy, he'd been dropped into the middle of a feud that would, 3 months later, erupt into what was called the Lincoln County War, which I will now do my very best to explain in the simplest way possible.
I'm so excited for this.
This is Marcus Parks's, like, Hall of Fame moment. This is his Bobby Bonilla lining up to sign that contract to make $1 million a year for 15 years. This is his moment.
All right.
Yeah, no. I mean, the stakes aren't that high. More, it's just like, this is me just trying my best to not get a call from my father telling me all the places where I was wrong.
Let me tell you what. And, he becomes more and more Texan as it goes.
He's an expert at this shit.
Marcus, when I looked up family's history books.
It's where my love of history comes from. My father's a fucking Wild West historian.
I disagree with the preface that this is not high stakes for you, Marcus. That's the highest stakes you've ever said on this podcast. If Papa Parks gets upset, this show is done. So let's make sure.
Because he'll ground him. He'll ground Marcus and he won't be able to leave his room.
I know. The Lincoln County War. Let's get into that.
See, after the Civil War, it wasn't just former Confederate soldiers who settled New Mexico. The opportunities to make money also attracted men with wealth and without conscience. And these men profited off the land and its people with the aid of unscrupulous bankers, corrupt officials, and all manner of armed men.
Now, you add words like unscrupulous and corrupt and armed, but I think that if you just took all of those words away, they just still imply what was in the Wild West. They are just bankers, officials, and men. Right. And they all have guns. They are all unscrupulous, and they are all corrupt. If you're in the Wild West, I don't know who was like was there honest men in the
yeah,
must have been
of course there were. There was plenty of honest men throughout the Wild. Most people in the Old West were honest and were trying to just make a way for themselves and just make a living. It's just the fuckers up top, like the men we're about to talk about, that were the most evil.
Because a lot of people say hope floats, but you know what else floats? Shit.
Yes, it does. Well, if you're on a healthy diet.
Well, guys like this basically controlled everything in New Mexico. And in Lincoln County, there were two men who had a stranglehold on most businesses in the region. And these two men were working in concert with each other. Hard-drinking, aggressive Irishmen both, the bosses of Lincoln County were Lawrence Murphy and James Dolan.
That's Jamie Dolan!
I have to say this one time. That is the owner of MSG, the New York Knicks, then the New York Rangers. James Dolan is the worst owner in sports. I've had to say that. I won't reference it again, and I hate him so much, and I hope he goes away forever. His band is also horrible.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The guy with the
James Dolan
band.
and the Hot Shots. JD and the Hot Shots. He missed the NBA draft so he could paper a fucking room that still didn't sell out so he could play his horrible rock music. The man is nepotism personified, and he's everything wrong with this country. I'm done with my James Dolan rant. Thank you.
Noted.
Now, it would be somewhat of a stretch to call Murphy and Dolan organized crime figures. See, instead of profiting off crime, they used crime as a business tool, using everything from fraud to intimidation to murder to further their cattle outfit and their store.
They're Americans. They are just people that decided to, there's a fun argument. There was one very dry documentary series I watched called The War in Lincoln County.
Yeah, you like them wet. I know how you like your docu-series.
I do. I prefer to leave a doc hard. But these guys talk about these two as that. Because, again, they're not crime figures. These are the men that made America.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they understood immediately, you kind of have to live in the gray.
Yeah. Very much live in the gray, and you have to use guns a lot.
Yes, and kill people. Well, I guess that's the gray. I don't know if that is.
But when it came to ways that Murphy and Dolan could be compared to organized crime, these guys were also fucking loan sharks. And they would employ gangs of cattle rustlers to increase their stock from time to time. And they would use these same gangs to enforce their will on the people. And one of the main gangs that they would go to was the Boys.
The Boys. It's just so nice back then. Businessmen went to the Boys and they were a gang, as opposed to businessmen now who just go to Boys.
At least they hired them.
Yes.
Before,
Very nice.
Instead of just
different times indeed. Were those was the term roughnecks? Is that is that a cattle wrangler? Is that where that term comes from?
That's Teddy Roosevelt.
You're thinking Henry. You're thinking of Rough Rider, and Ben, roughneck is more of an oil worker term.
Fuck all of this shit. And fuck.
He's the master.
It's
We're
true.
in his world
I
now.
forget. I'm sorry. I forgot. No. I forget. I'm here. I'm a student of life. I'm sorry for everything.
Now, to the people of Lincoln County, Murphy and Dolan's outfit was known simply as the House because all of their business was done from one gigantic structure smack dab in the middle of Lincoln. But the House's malfeasance wasn't limited to local government. They were also associated with a statewide organization of corrupt government officials known as the Santa Fe Ring.
This is what we will call later on in various series that we'll do throughout the year is that we hope to do B-team Illuminatis.
Yes.
Where it's like they made a group effort they made a group effort to say, we're going to control this state. Mm-hmm. And then as this shit gets legitimized, like once this becomes solidified as a state, it goes from a territory to being a part of the United States, we'll then be the ones in charge.
Mm. The Santa Fe Ring included the territorial governor of New Mexico, the district attorney of Lincoln County, a smattering of judges territory-wide, and at the bottom, the sheriff of Lincoln County, William Brady.
Damn, so they had this thing pretty well locked up from a power perspective.
Oh, yeah, they thought they did.
Yeah. And since Sheriff Brady was James Dolan's man on the ground, Brady had already had a run-in with Billy the Kid. And he had, in fact, confiscated a Winchester rifle from Billy before the Kid had even heard of James Dolan, Lawrence Murphy, John Tunstall, any of this shit. Now, the House got a piece of everything that everyone did in Lincoln County when it came to business. And if you were friendly to the House, Murphy and Dolan's generosity knew no bounds. But if you made yourself their enemy, they had no problem with sending a posse of potentially murderous men to change your mind.
But there was a bunch of, which is honestly scarier than men, which is 17-year-olds.
Oh, absolutely. I think we referenced the movie Them. Did we reference that on the last episode?
I mean, all the time.
Being horrified by teenagers that is why the
teenagers have no scruples.
They have no soul.
No, they have nothing to live for.
Sometimes they come back. Do you remember that? Fucking zombie teenagers coming back to kill everyone? Yeah.
That was really scary. So I just remember the high school that I used to live across the street from in New York. And I was always so scared because sometimes they'd make fun of my clothes as I walked down the street. And I knew that I have to go, yes, and laugh along with it. Because if not, I know when they'd all decide to turn on me because they're all full of hormones.
When I was in Minneapolis, I hung out with my 3-year-old goddaughter. She called me a poopy butt. And dare I say, it kind of hurt.
Honestly, she's correct.
I know.
You are a poopy butt.
Oh, buddy. All right.
Well, it was into this power structure that we see the entrance of John Tunstall, a 24-year-old, well-heeled Londoner who had just arrived in New Mexico, fresh off of amicably splitting from a successful merchant family so he could make his own way in life. He's a rich boy, but still a rich boy on his own.
Okay. Well, he definitely was of a mind that he's like, well, I'm well-bred. And I wear correct clothes. And simply, we can deal with all of this legally. Can't we, chaps? Like, he is very proper. Yes. Like, he is this idea that, like, he's like, I am just here as a business venture, as you are, you tiny young Irishman.
My father runs mercantile in British Columbia. Perhaps we can come to an agreement here.
Well, that's not going to be a way. We can come to some form of agreement.
I just realized if I was alive back then, I would have shot him. I can't deal with that.
Remember, John Tunstall, he's only 24 years old. He's like, maybe 6 years older than Billy the Kid. John Tunstall is always portrayed, and for some reason, every single Billy the Kid movie, he's always portrayed as this, kindly gentlemanly old man, like an
Terrence
old British man.
In Young Guns, where he's just being like, Billy, I sometimes look at you as my son. And meanwhile,
that is the American fetishization of the British male.
Yes, it is just another boy.
Yeah. Now, Tunstall's goal was to start a cattle outfit of his own and to open a mercantile store in Lincoln County. So, with the help of an attorney named Alexander McSween and a cattleman named Chisholm, John Tunstall went into direct competition with the House. And the House, remember, that's Lawrence Murphy and James Dolan. Now, at this point, the House was on shaky financial ground, and half of the House, Lawrence Murphy, was dying of cancer. But even in a weakened state, the House was still a dangerous animal, perhaps even more so. So,
do you think dying of cancer in the Old West, like what that must have been like? That must have been fucking horrible.
it's
Probably
just
similar to
leaking.
now.
Just leaking, just like shivering and stuff, where they just keep pouring bourbon on you.
Yeah, and the tumors start forming themselves underneath the skin, and they start getting bigger and bigger. And you start poking them.
look. Kind of looks like a dog.
Oh, that's
got
nice.
the ears, and it's got the long snout. I wish he'd go back here.
You got puppy cancer, my friend. That's the cutest kind of cancer you can possibly have.
So John Tunstall, he knew that he had to protect himself from potentially violent business rivals. The reputation of the House was well known. So John Tunstall specifically hired ranch hands that were as good with the gun as they were with a rope. And that's not all that uncommon for the time and place.
Oh, yeah.
But since Tunstall hired young men who were willing to kill or be killed as a part of their everyday duties, his employees were a little rough around the edges, which meant that Billy the Kid fit in perfectly with John Tunstall's outfit.
And honestly, it's an incredible tapestry. Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon. You've got the other
Right.
guy,
I remember
Charlie
Matt Dillon.
Sheen.
Yeah.
It's not Matt Dillon, it's Dermot Mulrooney.
I thought Matt Dillon's not in that too.
Matt Dillon's not in it. No, it's Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Phillips.
Yeah. Plays Chavez y Chavez, yeah.
All right, and that's another reference to Young Guns
I mean, this is what I have.
from the early 90s.
Yeah. I mean, if it helps, I can attach certain people when we talk about them. I can attach a fucking late 80s heartthrob to that person if it helps our listeners.
Thank you.
Live from your grave.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that helps you stand out online. Yes, that's right. You don't have to smash your face with a hammer. You can just start a business. It's got everything you need on Squarespace, from securing your domain to building a professional site and showcasing your work all in one place. Let's say you want to show everybody how you can carve your ribs out of your lower abdomen so that you look more like a Ken doll. That's amazing. You can bring your vision to life with AI-powered design or curated templates, plus flexible editing tools that helps you create something that truly reflects your style, especially if you are somebody that is trying to corrupt the young men of America. That's what Squarespace is really going to help you. Squarespace makes it easy. It makes it easy for you to put all that together, and you just go to Squarespace and do it all. Thanks, Braden. Head to squarespace.com/left for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code LEFT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Hey there, everybody. Is your cell phone bill too much money? Are you getting that bill and you're like, hey, what is this? I can't believe for what? For 5G? Are you crazy right now? $100? I don't even barely got any bars when I'm just sitting in my living room, okay? You don't have to deal with that anymore. Are you ready for this? $15 a month. That's right, $15 a month on Mint Mobile. Yeah, baby. Get their wireless plan, because they're just sitting there on the T-Mobile 5G network, and it's just $15. Your whole life, you're just paying all this money every month. You're like, why? Where's it going? It's going to these phone companies that are robbing you. So go to Mint Mobile. Let them help you talk to your mom. So get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's mintmobile.com/LPOTL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when the network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabytes hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. It's summertime, baby. And you know what that means. You're going to go to Quince and you're going to get yourself some new clothes. Something happened to me by accident recently. I had a nice little Quince mistake. It was Father's Day, and we wanted to get Julie's dad something nice, so naturally we went to Quince. We looked around, and we were like, oh, look at this 100% organic cotton mesh stitch button-up sweater polo. I think Bob's really going to like this. So we get it, and we buy it, and then you know what happened? A little fudge, a little mistake. Accidentally sent it to our house instead of Bob's house. Julie's like, oh, I'll just get a refund from Quince and we'll mail Bob another one. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds nice. But, maybe I should just see it first. She pulls it out. I was like, whoa, look at that. It's like a button-down polo with nice little holes in it. It's breathable. It's not bad. I think I'm going to wear this to Jazz Fest this weekend. Wore it to Jazz Fest. Got 3 comments. One was by a lady. Not bad, Quince. So get your hiney over to quince.com and treat yourself good and feel good. Look good this summer. Make your summer wardrobe easier. Go to quince.com/last for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. It gets hot up there. That's QUINCE.com/last for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/last. Look like a prince in your Quince, you jerks.
Now, the thing about Billy the Kid is that when John Tunstall dropped the horse theft charges and offered him a job on his ranch, Billy took the chance to go straight because he, like almost everyone in Lincoln County, liked and trusted John Tunstall immediately. Well, see, Tunstall was the first person to give Billy and the rest of these juvenile delinquents a future, although the Tunstall Ranch wasn't quite as lost boyish as one might think from watching some of its cinematic interpretations.
Whatever. It was difficult work. It was like you had to do all the horse rustling, and it was
it was horrible.
Well, that's what I mean. What I mean is that it's not all juvenile delinquents. It's not like it is like these young men are all running from something here. We need to get everyone needs to come together and read and write. Like it's not that quite like that.
Yes, because Terrence Stamp has that. It's that whole scene in Young Guns where he's been like, now we do our reading lessons. All right, boys. He's like, no, he's teaching them all to read and being like, that did not happen.
Definitely did not happen. Lost Boys. That's Peter Pan. Reminds me of the movie Hook. They were all fantasizing, and then they had food appear on the table, and not one of them fantasized about someone carving up a ham or a roast beef. The food they fantasized about sucked.
It was for
Where's
kids.
The tacos? Where's the pizza?
It's kids. Children. They don't know.
It was pudding. It was mostly pudding.
But they could have fantasized any food.
And then you put any naked woman in there? Or one naked man they could all suck on if they wanted to. You know what I mean?
You've perverted it.
I'm just saying, if you're going to put a lot of things in this scenario, you cast it.
I was attempting to make more of a reference to pizzas or tacos, and you brought up young boys sucking up old men.
Pudding. I was on your side, Vin. I stuck with pudding, although it is a very sexual food.
It's not. All right, can we go on? That's disgusting. The little insight we get into your love life, Marcus,
this is the Dayquil talking.
So gross.
Either way, Tunstall's employees learned how to be proper cowboys together. They formed a strong bond, both between each other and with John Tunstall. And John Tunstall, piece by piece, managed to acquire 4,000 acres of land on the Rio Feliz for his cattle outfit. 4,000 acres, that's not a small plot. Think of this, 1 acre is about 1.3 football fields. So it's pretty big fucking spread.
Yeah. Well, he came for money. So this was like his father gave him money, it seems, to like, that was like the seed money he had to come. And basically, because the famous sentence he says that every Wild West historian says, being like, I plan to make 50 cents on every dollar made in Lincoln County, father.
Yeah. Well, of course, John Tunstall getting a foothold here in Lincoln County, this was unacceptable to James Dolan and Lawrence Murphy. a.k.a. the house.
Because James Dolan was 5'2" of
Yes.
pure rage. He was 5'2" as well.
Scary.
Yeah, very scary.
I don't mess with the little ones, dude.
No, because he would pop off.
Exactly.
Now, besides just the threat Tunstall's outfit was to the house's business, there were also old world grudges playing out right here in America. See, Murphy and Dolan were perhaps not surprisingly Irish Catholics who'd made their fortunes in America through grit, determination, and violence. And John Tunstall was a newly arrived Englishman who'd been born wealthy. Now, Tunstall saw this whole thing as regular business competition.
It's healthy.
Fair is-
It's healthy to the market. Everybody should always diversity.
Yeah, fair is fair. But to Murphy and Dolan, this was just another example of the Englishman coming to take the Irishman's land and grind them under his boot heel like he'd been doing for centuries.
And I won't stand for it. I won't stand for it, man.
Yeah. That's typical. That is a typical Irish-English feud. I like it.
See, like Billy the Kid's mother, Murphy and Dolan had grown up in rural Ireland during the Great Famine. Now, we can't get into the history of the fucking potato famine.
All right.
But all you need to know...
Can I tell you the only thing I know about it?
What?
The only thing they had to eat was potatoes.
That's not actually true. It was a
All
potato
right.
blight.
Holy fucking shit. Now we
That was-
gotta how many emails?
Well,
I'm
that
gonna
was-
leave it in. I'm gonna leave it in to say we need to leave it in, but just the emails
there
we're
was-
gonna.
And there was a
What was
blight
gonna
on
get?
there was a blight on potatoes. Is that's the whole thing about it being they actually had nothing to eat but potatoes. That was people that were trying to muddy up history.
See?
It's one of those things.
It
where it's
worked.
like, it worked because they did. It was a potato blight that came
That's
in.
why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up.
Well, all you
Or
need to
decimated.
fucking
Or eat-
all you need to know is that the potato famine was made much worse than it had to be by British policies. Therefore, Murphy and Dolan were what you might call a little oversensitive to an Englishman gaining a foothold in their backyard, and their actions leading up to the Lincoln County War would reflect that animosity. Now, the opening salvo of the Lincoln County War is by far the most complicated because Murphy and Dolan tried to bury John Tunstall and his associates with shady legal maneuvering before they resorted to murder.
And for that, I give him credit.
I mean, they didn't
It's
go
still
right to
all-
the gun, I guess.
It is still all highly illegal, it's all highly shady, and it's all highly corrupt. But yeah, to their credit, they didn't just go and shoot him in the fucking head.
No, they
Okay.
used jurisprudence.
Jurisprudence.
Basically, James Dolan wanted his hands on an insurance policy payout that had been set up by local attorney Alexander McSween. And remember, McSween was a close friend of John Tunstall's. He was one of two guys who'd helped John Tunstall get started in New Mexico. And remember that name, Alexander McSween. He's going to be a very important figure in all this.
Yes, and Alexander McSween he's a lawyer. He's a normal guy, pacifist. He didn't have a gun or anything. He didn't like to fight. That wasn't his shit. But he had a personal beef against James Dolan. Speaking of beef, even though it's kind of funny because they're in the beef business. But he had worked for James Dolan for a period of time, and he knew the whole inner workings of the house. So he was helping Tunstall with inside information to help him outmaneuver the house.
All right.
So to get a hold of this insurance money, James Dolan got a corrupt judge to issue a sham warrant for Alexander McSween's arrest on charges of embezzlement, which was Dolan's first step towards quote-unquote legally seizing everything McSween owned. And since the Lincoln County Sheriff, William Brady, was a pawn of the house, McSween was arrested and jailed in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Now, John Tunstall and Alexander McSween were not business partners, but they were certainly friends. So when McSween was arrested, Tunstall came to his defense publicly.
I shall write a strongly worded letter.
Wow.
Yeah, Tunstall wrote an open letter in the local paper accusing James Dolan and Sheriff Brady of embezzlement themselves.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He
And
just
no
put
one
up he just bought a newspaper. He put a reflective thing in it, and it was just a mirror. And he's just like, the criminal doth see himself in the advertisement, doesn't he?
Yeah, I remember that.
And isn't the embarrassment alone punishment?
It kind of is, man. I remember when Time made you the person of the year
so
with the
easy.
mirror. It was
It was
horrible.
me. It was
Yeah,
me.
Wow.
I don't feel like it.
No, definitely not.
Well, people didn't come out in public against the House. They were just too fucking powerful. And Tunstall taking out this newspaper article, one, it was an affront to their power, and two, he was placing himself right in the middle of the fight, and it opened himself to attack from Dolan's outfit. Now, Dolan and his dirty little judge were under the false assumption that Tunstall and McSween were business partners. So the judge took the whole thing a step further by issuing a writ of attachment that included both McSween and Tunstall. And essentially, this writ demanded that all of McSween's and Tunstall's property, including McSween's law office and Tunstall's cattle and store, be turned over to the county, where it would no doubt magically somehow end up in the hands of James Dolan.
Wow.
But so, Dolan formed a posse to enforce this bogus writ, and he recruited corrupt law enforcement officials, including Sheriff Brady, as well as local gang members like Billy the Kid's former pal, Jesse Evans.
That's gotta be fun. Like the day that you get to be, you're in an informal gang, and then you get to be turned into an official police officer.
Yeah, it's
for
a
the
good day.
Like, because we're gonna see this come up with the main crew that we're going to be talking about. But that's got to be like, because then you're just like, man, I can legally shoot people.
Well, then you say, I'm bona fide.
I'm bona fide.
I'm bona fide.
Now, in the days leading up to the first shot of the Lincoln County War, the Dolan faction and the Tunstall faction had a few small skirmishes, including one where Billy stood outside of the seized Tunstall store and called every man inside a cowardly son of a bitch.
You all suck. Whoa. You suck, and you're dumb, and your boss is short, and you smell. How about that?
It's a good time to be in the corner of the bar sipping your whiskey, but like, it's going to be an interesting day today.
Yeah, this is a good time for town gossips, too.
Definitely.
But the true start of the Lincoln County War was February 18th, 1878, when Tunstall and some of his crew, including Billy the Kid, took 9 horses to Lincoln to sell them before the bogus posse snatched them up. And as it turned out, they were right to try and sell. That same day, Dolan's posse, about 40 strong, arrived at the Tunstall Ranch for those 9 horses. And when they found Tunstall and the horses already gone, about 14 men peeled off to run him down. Later that day, Tunstall, Billy, and the rest of the crew were making their way down a narrow canyon when Tunstall's boys spotted a flock of wild turkeys.
Oh.
Unable to resist chasing them, it's a lot of fun to chase wild turkeys.
Are they
run
Marmaduke? Would he be unable to resist chasing the turkey?
He is Billy the Kid. You know what I mean? Like, he still wants to chase a turkey if he gets a chance to.
And it's all of them. It's the dog from Up. What is happening?
It's a lot of fun to chase wild turkeys because they look funny when they're running away, and but they can run pretty fast, and it's really fun to chase them around.
I just love that you frame it like Charlie Sheen in a heroin den trying not to get high.
It's so funny.
Oh, I gotta see the turkey. Oh, I gotta see him wobble.
But, because of the wild turkeys, Billy and the rest, they took off, and they left Tunstall all alone.
It's like when I'm in the car as we were driving through Nebraska, I'm like, horses. Look, it's horses.
It is exciting.
And in a cruel twist of fate, Dolan's posse caught up to Tunstall just as Tunstall's only means of protection rode off to play grab-ass with a bunch of wild turkeys.
Oh, no.
And so, after a short argument about the 9 horses, the foreman of Dolan's ranch, Buck Morton, pulled his rifle. He then shot John Tunstall squarely in the chest, causing him to fall out of the saddle. Another member of the posse then got off his horse and shot John Tunstall in the head just to make goddamn sure he wasn't alive.
But you know what? In the Old West, that's how you've officially become an American citizen.
Double tap.
So didn't he die an American man?
When you shoot a British man in the head, or when you...
If you get shot in America, you are officially a United States citizen.
Knowing that they were outgunned, Billy and the rest rode off to fight another day, while Dolan's men killed Tunstall's horse and carefully arranged the corpses of the animal and the man to appear as if they were taking a nap together because they thought it was funny.
Now, I feel like in a way, if this was a fair fight, there was a way they maybe could have avoided the following war, right? The way that they could have fought, but they made it personal.
Yeah, it seems very personal.
It got very, very personal. And when it comes down to it, Billy the Kid, in a way, and these guys, they had affection for Tunstall. Like they liked Tunstall, and then they desecrated his corpse, which at the time, still, I remember, like times were ancient until 1975.
They could have gone with a Tunstall Duncan, and carved up the horse's stomach and then placed him inside of there.
Yeah, if this was Saw, Back to the Future 3 like mix up.
Yeah.
And it was with the murder of John Tunstall that the Lincoln County War began.
Woo! Or sad.
Now, Billy the Kid had only known John Tunstall for about 3 months, but Tunstall was also the first person who'd ever placed any faith in Billy. So, at Tunstall's wake, as Billy looked down at the body, he swore that he was going to get at least some of Tunstall's killers before he himself died. And it was a promise that Billy the Kid was very quickly going to keep.
You really see in this story, because the first episode was definitely Billy the Kid as a scamp, and he is this kind of like lovable rogue that's he starts like his origin story of being a super slippery little baby criminal. Yeah. But this is when he becomes a fucking desperado. Like Billy the Kid, like it's kind of surprising to me how dangerous he would become and how good of a fighter he would become.
He has a little righteous indignation at this point, so he feels validated, right?
He feels extremely righteous in what he's about to do, because he places loyalty above all. And the man who, the first man who ever reciprocated that loyalty, John Tunstall, had been killed unjustly. Right. So therefore, all of the rage and the violence that is within Billy the Kid, he now has permission to let it loose.
And nothing's like a child who has like that, because kids have that sociopathic like version of idealism where it's like in his mind, because now it's like this war's going, now we're doing this shit, and because he feels validated now he feels permission to do all sorts of fucked up shit.
And
there's a reason why we send 18-year-olds out to war. And Billy the Kid's 17.
I have to push back a little bit, Marcus. I don't think he held loyalty above all. I think just above loyalty was chasing them turkeys.
It seems like it, because he left his post for a second.
1 second.
I don't know, man. You just got to play grab ass sometimes. I know it's. I got yelled at it all the fucking time when I was a kid. Quit playing grab ass, goddammit. Stop being so goddamn cute. Stop playing fucking grab ass. And I know that, but that's the thing. You're supposed to fucking play grab ass sometimes in life. Sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, 16-year-old doesn't need to be like a stern father-like figure on a horse. You know what I mean? If they could, you can still play. But the child play. Billy the Child.
I mean, I guess it was before Pokemon Go. They really did have to find turkeys, and turkeys are kind of mythical creatures.
This was really before Pokemon Go.
Yes, it was. All right.
Now, the posse that had killed John Tunstall had done so on orders that had come from Sheriff Brady. But Sheriff Brady himself was not present on the day that John Tunstall was murdered, nor was James Dolan present. These were men, these men gave orders and had the lower downs do their dirty work.
Oh, yeah.
But since the sheriff was the one who gave the direct order to kill an innocent man, and since most officials in Lincoln County were in Dolan's pocket, trying to get justice for Tunstall's murder through regular means was out of the question. But luckily for the Tunstall crew, there was still one government official in the town of Lincoln who wasn't allied with James Dolan. That was the Justice of the Peace. And he quickly formed a panel that delivered a verdict of homicide for the posse who killed John Tunstall. Whoa. But the warrants themselves were useless if there was no one to serve them. And Sheriff Brady sure as hell wasn't going to do it himself. So the Justice of the Peace turned to Dick Brewer, the foreman for John Tunstall's ranch. The JP deputized Brewer, and Brewer in turn deputized 15 other men who were also former employees of John Tunstall, including Billy the Kid. These former cowboys then dubbed themselves the Regulators.
Mount up. That is amazing. It's like a pyramid scheme of power.
Honestly, it's kind of weird. It's also a formation vaguely of the form of like an Old West version of the Avengers. These guys are ready to go. These are
that's
Dolgers,
what it is.
Man.
They took their name, the Regulators. They didn't come up with Regulators themselves. They took the name Regulators from like the popular dime novels of the day. It would be like if a modern gang today like named themselves the X-Men.
Cool. That would be cool. And they were all like, one was psychic but sensitive, and one man could make ice, and the other man couldn't open his eyes. He's too dangerous.
That would be fun.
No matter where the name came from, the Regulators, wearing badges, one and all, they set about the task of finding justice for their former boss.
And honestly, their tale is also told completely inaccurately in Billy Joel's Ballad of Billy the Kid. And but yeah, I will say, according to some of these YouTube comments, Billy Joel's piano is a certified illegal weapon of mass destruction, the destruction of war and violence. Billy Joel has brought so much happiness into my life, and without them, I would still be in the dark, horrible place I was in. Billy, you are a god in every way.
Wow, Billy Joel saving lives.
Now, the Regulators were led in the field by Tunstall Ranch foreman Dick Brewer. And if it keeps it straight in your head, Dick Brewer was played by Charlie Sheen in Young Guns.
He's
Very
the older
serious.
one, the wizened one, who's now he's a little bit age beyond his years. He's 23, so he's been a regulator he was a ranch hand for a period of time.
Yes,
He's the one that's a Billy. Yeah,
he comes from a long line of Dick Brewers, which is a horrible way to make beer.
Yeah.
Very salty.
Yeah, very salty. Alexander McSween, and if you want to use that, if you want to keep that straight in your head, that's Terry O'Quinn, John Locke from Lost.
Yes.
He plays Alexander McSween in the movie. Mm-hmm. Alexander McSween, whose false embezzlement charge started this whole affair, he was still in the mix as well. It's pretty much Dick Brewer and Alexander McSween given all the orders here.
McSween became sort of the de facto boss when Tunstall was murdered.
Yeah. See, McSween had fled town soon after Tunstall's death, fearing the same fate might befall him. But he always stayed close enough to Lincoln to give his input as to how this war might be brought to an end. And McSween would indeed see the last day of the Lincoln County War.
Live from your grave.
Where are you sending us?
Well, this is a fun one.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds returns with a new season, now streaming on Paramount+.
You are facing the finest crew in Starfleet.
Boldly go.
Any of these missions could be a lost.
One step closer.
What we are about to do cannot be taken back.
To where it all began.
We've seen a lot of strange new worlds, but we'll never see something like this.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds. New season now streaming exclusively on Paramount+.
Summer schedules can get busy fast with camps, vacations, sports, family time. And, every single time Carmi eats a block of dark chocolate, we got to take her to the emergency room. You know how much time that takes. All right, IXL makes it easy to keep learning part of the routine in just a few minutes a day. IXL is an award-winning online learning platform that helps kids truly understand what they're learning, whether they're building math confidence, strengthening reading and writing skills, or reviewing science concepts. From pre-K through 12th grade, IXL offers personalized, interactive learning that adapts to each child's level and pace, which is great because Carmi has been really slow in biology, and Wendy has really been struggling with American history, mostly just because she doesn't agree with the way it's being taught. So it's really important. You making an impact on your child's learning. Wendy, as soon as she gets her chicken, she is ready for all of her lessons. And Carmi just really has to eat 5 or 6 bites of liver, beef liver, chicken liver, and then she can really get down to, I'm hoping this is the year she reads To Kill a Mockingbird. So really, IXL, thank you. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Last Podcast on the Left listeners can get an exclusive 20% off at IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/left. Visit IXL.com/left to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
All right, I know what you're thinking. I like to go banking, but I don't want to give to these big old banks all the time that cater to the 1%. Well, go ahead and get yourself hooked up with Chime. It's banking built for you, not just those rich jerks. And they got thousands of fee-free ATMs because why pay to get your own money? Chime is working for you, man. You get your Chime card, you're going to get travel perks, you're going to get into airport lounges, you're going to get those chicken thighs. Every time I go to an airport lounge, I get chicken thighs. And you know what I say whenever I see a plate of chicken thighs? Give me more. Chime's going to get you those chicken thighs in these lounges, all right? Sure, they could serve other types of meat, but why would you when chicken thighs are so delicious? Chime is not just smarter banking, it's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today Head to chime.com/left. That's chime.com/left. It only takes a few minutes to sign up. Chime is a fintech, not a bank. Banking services for Chime Card provided by Chime's bank partners. Optional products and services may have fees or charges. Stated cashback for Chime Prime only. No minimum balance required. For more information on travel perks, go to chime.com/disclosures.
Now, the Regulators soon picked up more men for their cowboy army because everyone hated James Dolan and everyone liked John Tunstall. So, by July of 1887, the Regulators had 60 men at their command.
Damn.
But the only person out of those 60 who was involved in every major battle, skirmish, or gunfight from beginning to end was Billy the Kid.
'Cause I'm wanted, dead or alive.
Once again, I would prefer alive, if possible. Thank you.
Now, what made the Lincoln County War particularly violent was that both sides believed themselves to be the law. And technically, both sides actually were the law.
It is very confusing. Because anybody can be the law if you have a badge in this time period.
It seems like
lanyards have always been very important.
I know the power of a lanyard.
On one side, you had Sheriff Brady, who was an elected official who deputized men himself. He was backed by James Dolan. On the other side, you had the Regulators, and you had Billy the Kid. They were also legally deputized, but they were deputized by a Justice of the Peace, who had just as much power as the fucking sheriff. And really, all this tells you is just how vague of a concept the law really was in the Old West, especially in a place like New Mexico. Because New Mexico at this point, it's still a territory under United States jurisdiction, but not yet a state.
It's like being a fiance. Don't count unless you're married. You know what it comes down to it?
Wow.
You got to get through that period.
At this
it's
point,
called the Chapel Perilous.
New Mexico, not a girl, not yet a woman.
Oh, that's great.
Right in the middle.
Right there.
Well, as a result of this vagueness, the law itself completely broke down in Lincoln County during the war. And the only thing anyone with a badge concerned themselves with was killing other people who were also wearing badges.
Oh.
Now, ostensibly, the Regulators existed solely to arrest and incarcerate the men who had directly participated in the murder of John Tunstall. So, they started with the man who had fired the first shot into John Tunstall's chest. That man was Buck Morton. On March 6th, 11 Regulators encountered 5 riders that included Buck Morton and members of the Boys. After the Regulators chased Morton and his cohorts for miles, firing over 100 rounds of ammunition without hitting anything, Morton's horse gave out. Exhausted, the horse tripped and took down the horse of a Boys gang member as well.
Oh, no.
Now, after Morton and his cohort surrendered, Billy the Kid immediately wanted to kill them both because he knew the corrupt Sheriff Brady would just set them free.
It was a scene out of a movie where he pulled the gun. They were there. They got him. They were about to attach him to the horses, however they were going to transport him. And he pulls out his gun and they all grab him. And they're like, "No, Billy, no, no, no!" And it's been like, "He killed my English father. He killed my English father." And they're like, "No, Billy, no. We're Regulators now, bro. We got to do this on the legal side, bro." And it's like,
no, it's Dick Brewer. Like Dick Brewer says, "Billy, we're the law now." And he took his deputation very seriously. He insisted we're the law and we should act as such. Therefore, Dick Brewer said, our only job is to take Morton and this other guy back to Lincoln, and then the system's going to take over from there. And then our job is done.
But what was his time? My day will come.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
This is
Billy,
scary stuff.
Now, Billy acquiesced in the argument eventually, but while the Regulators were on their way to Lincoln with these 2 prisoners in tow, the posse was joined by a man named Bill McCloskey. And Bill McCloskey, he had worked for John Tunstall briefly, but he was also friends with Buck Morton, the man who had shot John Tunstall. There's a lot of people stuck in the middle in the Lincoln County War.
Because there's a lot of grays in New Mexico. There's a lot of people working on various sides because everyone, like you said in the beginning, are they're just trying to make it. So it's hard because you have personal alliances and then you have business alliances. And you have to try to see when your business alliances turn deadly. Are you willing to stake your personal alliances on the grounds for money? On the counts for money, on the counts for holdings? Or is it about brotherhood?
Also, it was kind of cool. You said the sentence, there's a lot of grays in New Mexico, and this is not a UFO episode.
See, I know. Well, honestly, I will bring that up again, though, later in the future.
It's pretty good. New Mexico, the land of enchantment.
Yeah, it
is.
is.
What they call it, the land of enchantment.
Hufflepuff.
Now, there are conflicting stories as to what happened next, but according to what Dick Brewer later said, Buck Morton managed to grab McCloskey's pistol, and then Buck Morton used that pistol to shoot his friend before he tried riding off with the other prisoner. And Buck Morton and the other prisoner made it about 400 yards before the regulators cut down both men, shooting Buck Morton 9 times and the other prisoner 5.
Wow.
Then, as Buck Morton lay dying, Billy the Kid got off his horse to watch the light go out of Buck's eyes up close.
You killed my English father. Wow. Now watch you turn into shit.
Yes, indeed.
And afterward, Billy couldn't have been happier. He was quoted as saying that he never meant to let them birds reach Lincoln alive. And that statement was the beginning of Billy the Kid's reputation as a cold-blooded killer who never took prisoners.
Damn. All right. He sounds like a really cool character.
Don't take no shit from anybody.
No.
Now, this double killing of 2 murderers came to be known somewhat dramatically as the Blackwater Massacre. It was no doubt inflated by newspapermen who were in the pocket of James Dolan.
Yeah, I don't think you can't have 2. It was just 2 people
Just
shot
2
and killed.
people,
Right?
yeah.
That ain't a massacre.
Nah.
Not by American standards.
But each one of these chapters of this war get blown up because you
Yeah.
have all of these people are also fighting through mass media as well.
Yes, through the printing press.
This would also be the beginning of the end of the Regulators' legitimate authority.
It did not last long.
Damn.
No. See, James Dolan began calling in favors from New Mexico Territory Governor Samuel Axtell, who was said to be both dim-witted and pompous.
Yeah, you can do whatever you like, Mr. Dolan, and I appreciate that. We had this meeting, and actually, I'm not wearing any pants.
That's the perfect impression of a shitty politician.
Well, following Dolan's request, Governor Axtell voided both the deputizations of the Regulators and the warrants issued for the men who had assassinated John Tunstall. In other words, the Regulators no longer had any official authority.
And so they, respecting authority, they dropped all their guns.
Sure.
Billy Kid actually would go on to become a maid of a house. He had a lovely maid. These 2 families. He was a father with 3 kids.
Yeah.
And he got divorced from them. I believe the mother died. And then he got married to another woman. She had 3 daughters.
She had 3 daughters.
And they all moved in together. And then he became sort of a fun, sassy maid. And I think that they were all having sex with him.
Isn't that wild?
No,
Crazy.
losing their lawful status didn't change a goddamn thing. They still had a stack of warrants to serve, and they were going to serve them, come hell or high water. But it seems like this removal of legitimacy pushed some of the Regulators, including Billy the Kid, into even more lawless territory.
Oh yeah, because we don't gotta pretend to be cops no more.
They're untethered. They're free.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Regulators were a military unit who moved as one single organism. These guys split up and reunited again and again, and it was during one of these periods when Billy the Kid was split off from the more level-headed Dick Brewer that Billy made a decision that changed the tenor of the Lincoln County War. Now, it was Billy's opinion that ultimately the man who should pay the price for John Tunstall's death was the man who gave the direct order. So Billy and 5 other Regulators went about the business of taking out Sheriff William Brady.
Damn.
Now, we're not sure if Billy and the others were planning to kill Brady on the day they attacked, or if this was a spur-of-the-moment decision. But what we do know is that when the opportunity presented itself, Billy and the others struck.
What I've come to know about Billy the Kid, watching the documentaries and reading the 2 books, it seems to be Billy the Kid was not a necessarily great planner, but he was one of the smartest off-the-cuff criminals at the time.
Sounds like a doer. Maybe not a planner, but a
what
doer.
He was.
He's a leader.
He was a leader, and he saw opportunities, and he took them whenever he could.
A lot like Leroy Jenkins.
That was actually staged,
Oh, was
too. It turned out all of that was
ruin stuff for me.
reproduced.
Don't ruin stuff for me.
It's really very sad.
Well, on April 1st, 1878, In the middle of the day, Sheriff Brady and 4 of his deputies were walking past John Tunstall's old store. Unbeknownst to them, 6 regulators, including Billy the Kid, were in a corral out back, hiding behind an adobe wall.
Mount up.
Yeah, that's actually from Young Guns.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Can't be no geek off the street.
What? I'm not a geek.
Yeah, you gotta know, get clean, gotta know you still, know what I mean? Earn your keep.
Earn your keep.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
at some point there's going to be a whole geek squad, and we're really going to be cool. We'll be cool geeks, and people are going to call us. And
They would
they
be
want us to come
fucking
over.
each one systematically shot in the head by Billy the Kid.
Oh, that's not right.
Now, these 6 regulators have been given explicit instructions to not touch Sheriff Brady. Whatever you do, don't fuck with Brady, because if they killed an elected official, all of their credibility would melt away. But as we know, Billy the Kid never much cared for credibility. And also, he's a 17-year-old kid with a gun and a righteous cause.
Many guns, not just a gun.
There's a lot of guns. Yeah, many guns.
He could use that gun rack that Wayne's girlfriend gave him in Wayne's World.
Yeah. So when Brady and his 4 deputies walked down the street past the corral, the regulators stuck their rifles through the gun ports built into the adobe wall and opened fire.
Wait, hold on a second. They just had holes in the wall so you could put guns in them?
It was their
Gun
windows.
ports.
No, it was windows for the adobe. They would build houses out of adobe.
They were specifically gun ports, in case. Yeah.
Okay.
This happened a lot.
Well, yeah,
guess.
you might have a raid. You might have a Native
no
American
point-
tribe coming in and trying to fucking murder all of you because you murdered a lot of them, and so
Yeah.
they're now trying to come and murder you.
I
So,
just feel like if I was there and everyone was drilling holes in the wall to place guns in, I would also say, but then they can put the guns in too, and then we're just going to be sitting in here like
It's
literally-
difficult to shoot through. Not a lot of people had the accuracy.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, this is not that long after, the Texas War for Independence. Like, this is a time when, you could conceivably think, like, a war might break out here any fucking moment. It might have nothing to do with me, but goddammit, I gotta be ready to defend what's mine.
Kind of, it seems to explain the mentality going forth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the mentality of everyone trying to fight for a seat on Southwest Airlines.
Yep.
Oh no, the entire Southwest and Texas in particular are still living their lives by Old West mentalities that do not apply to the modern world, and that's partly why they're so fucked up.
Fantastic.
But that's just me. That's just a native's opinion.
That's it. That's his
Okay.
opinion. That's his opinion.
Yeah. Now, since these boys were aiming specifically for Brady, he was the first to go down, and Deputy George Hinman went down with him. The other 3 deputies, however, fled for cover in nearby houses. Now, Sheriff Brady attempted to rise from the ground after he was wounded multiple times. But before he could get on his feet, the regulators pumped him full of lead. And they ended the life of the man they blamed for the death of their beloved boss with 12 bullets.
Just cut to the other sheriff deputies, one with the little lampshade over his head, standing really still. One guy just on all fours, being like, do I look like a table?
There's going to be a lot of that.
But that's not to say this was a clear-cut cinematic moment where the evil villain dies and the hero rides away clean. See, at this point, Deputy Hinman was still alive. And when a saloon owner named Ike Stockton tried pulling him into safety just because it was the right thing to do, Stockton was shot and killed by one of the regulators for helping the enemy.
Oh, you can't kill the barkeep.
Regulators gonna regulate, man. When it comes down to the genie's out of the fucking lamp, the dick is out of the pants. These guys are doing whatever it takes now. They're desperados.
All right.
The gunplay was so intense that in a crazy coincidence, the justice of the peace who had deputized the regulators in the first place was shot in the ass sideways through both cheeks as he was bent over working in his garden.
Was he Ziggy Stardust? How big was his ass?
I don't know, but he definitely got turned into a periscope. It's weird, like you could give him a little look finder between his butt cheeks.
You would not believe what happened today, honey.
Look, just blow through this hole. Comes out the other side.
What a crappy day.
But the point here is that just like gang warfare today, innocent people got caught in the crossfire again and again in the Old West, and they especially got caught during the Lincoln County War.
Oh, yeah. It's about to get fucking crazy.
Jeez.
But once the gunshots died down, Billy and another regulator walked over to Brady's body so Billy could replace the Winchester rifle that Brady had confiscated during their first encounter. and he did this knowing that 3 other deputies were still out there. This arrogance was met with more gunfire, and while Billy was lucky to have just been nipped on his side with a flesh wound, the first of 5 bullet wounds, by the way, that he'd get throughout his short life, another regulator was seriously wounded in the thigh. Once the kid and his compatriot limped back to the corral, 5 out of the 6 regulators jumped on their horses and rode out of town amidst a hail of bullets, while the wounded regulator, unable to ride, hid underneath the floorboards of John Tunstall's former store until the coast was clear. He was there for like 2 days, bleeding from a major wound on his thigh, but he got away alive.
Damn. It reminds me a little bit of obviously Bonnie and Clyde.
It's very similar.
And you
People
wonder
can take bullets during this time.
Yes, because I'm remembering all the horrible things that happened to poor Bonnie. And of course Clyde as well. I do think if Billy the Kid and Clyde got together, that's a super team.
One day, when we go through the next couple of years, when we've covered many of these people, because we're going to do a lot more gangster coverage, we're going to do a lot more Old West Desperado coverage, like all of this stuff. It's so interesting. We'll put together the super team.
Yes.
Yeah. I would actually say Billy the Kid was smarter than Clyde Barrow.
Oh, very much so. Clyde Barrow was he was not that effective of a criminal. It was way more. But Billy the Kid, though, he became a legend for a reason.
All right.
Well, but also, like, Billy the Kid also found a niche, and he stuck to it.
Yeah.
Now, up to this point, the regulators were looked upon favorably by white New Mexicans because everyone knew what it's like to be under the thumb of people like James Dolan. But after they effectively killed a cop in broad daylight in the middle of the street, the white people of New Mexico turned against them. The Mexicans, however, loved the regulators, and they especially loved Billy the Kid more than ever after he was responsible for the murder of an official that they all knew was a piece of shit.
Nice.
They saw Billy specifically as the person who was fighting against their enemies in ways that they couldn't, and therefore it was often Mexicans who gave Billy and the regulators refuge. But even though the regulators were no longer deputized, and even though 6 of them had murdered an elected official, they still considered themselves to be deputized.
Hey, man, it's about frame of mind, man.
It really is. They don't even need Tony Robbins CDs.
Perception is reality, man. You got a badge, dude.
Definitely.
So Dick Brewer and the regulators continued the process of serving warrants for the murder of John Tunstall.
That's kind of almost like, it's kind of badass, right?
It's
in
cool
a way.
shit.
I mean, obviously, these guys are all criminals. We're celebrating these guys because they're not serial killers, and this happened fucking 200 years ago. But when it comes down to it, like, this is one of those things, the idea of, like, having that warrant still, and they're like, we still have the charges right here in our hands. Like, there's something about that, just, like, using it almost like a sigil.
Absolutely.
It's a gray area, you know, because there really are, there are 2 sides here. Like, I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I guess the regulators, like, you know, you got Dick Brewer on one side that is like, we are still like, damn the fucking law, damn Governor Axel, we're going to do whatever the fuck we need to do to bring justice to this man because that's what's right. And on the other side, you got Billy the Kid who's like, all these fuckers need to die, and they need to die at my hands, and they all need to die as soon as possible, and who gives a shit how it happens.
Billy the Kid was the chaos agent, but also when it comes down to this whole scenario is, the way the Old West kind of worked, too, was that if they had won the Lincoln County War, like, let's say they did round it all up, eventually enough time would pass where they would be legitimized. You know what I mean? Where, like, we're still in this place where these states are being made. So if they do win this quote-unquote war, they're the ones in charge.
Yeah. Well, next up was alleged Tunstall murder posse member Andrew Buckshot Roberts. Buckshot Roberts had already figured out that deputization or no, the regulators were still coming to kill him. So he sold his ranch and went to a location called Blazer's Mills to wait for a payment to come by mail so he could leave New Mexico forever.
This guy fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
And he's interesting. This is an interesting, I love this story.
This is my favorite part of the Lincoln County War is the Buckshot Roberts fight. Now, there's actually debate as to whether Buckshot Roberts was actually in the posse that killed John Tunstall, or whether he just worked for James Dolan and had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, there's one group that says that he was just there. He wasn't there as a part of it, that he was just an employee, and he did the clerk's defense of like, I'm just working. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here today.
Yeah.
Or that he wasn't even there at all. That he wasn't, some people said, actually there's three camps. There's some people that say he was just there in the posse and did nothing to stop it, so therefore he's guilty. There's others that say he participated in the shooting, therefore he's guilty. And then there's others that say, like, no, he was just an employee of James Dolan, and somehow the regulators got it in their head that Buckshot Roberts needed to fucking die.
Okay.
But whether or not he was actually involved, it's never a good idea to fuck with a guy who has a gun-themed nickname.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Unless it's nowadays, because most of the time it just means you fart a lot.
Buckshot Zabrowski.
I don't know. In 1877, you definitely don't want to fuck with a guy. He got the name Buckshot because he got shot. He still had a huge load of buckshot in his fucking shoulder. And he was known as like a grumpy loner. He was kind of a buffalo hunter, a bit of a mountain man, or at least like a lonely type of guy. But he was also just known as Buckshot Morton. You don't fuck with him.
Sounds kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah. And the regulators were about to find out that fact for themselves at great cost.
Uh-oh.
Now, from what I can tell, as it's a little hazy, I think that the confrontation between the regulators and Buckshot Roberts was actually a bit of a coincidence. From what regulators said afterward, Dick Brewer saw Buckshot Roberts approach Brewer's Mills. So Dick sent out a few of his men to convince Buckshot to surrender. But when Buckshot saw that there was a fucking group of heavily armed cowboys waiting for him, he refused to surrender because he knew all about the regulators and he knew that Billy the Kid was riding with him. And he knew Billy the Kid's reputation for shooting and killing anyone who had anything to do with the murder of John Tunstall.
This is like John Wick.
It is. It's very
man.
similar. But Buckshot Roberts also, like, it's such a human thing because he was supposed to have already been out of town, but he came back looking for a check that was supposed to show up for him.
Damn.
So that's the whole thing. Like, he was already supposed to be gone, but he was waiting on that freelancer's check. And if you are a freelancer, you know how hard it is to get an invoice fulfilled. And he was waiting on it. And he's like, maybe I'll sneak in and get my shit.
Damn.
No, it was the check for the sale of his ranch. Like, this is his entire fucking livelihood. And it's at this point on the porch of Blazer's Mills that Buckshot Roberts raised his rifle. He and regulator Charlie Beaudry fired at the same time. And while Beaudry's bullet hit Buckshot in the gut, Buckshot's bullet, according to legend, ricocheted off Beaudry's belt buckle and accidentally blew off another regulator's trigger finger.
That's such a fun moment.
Oh, God damn it. Now this is the only finger I needed.
I mean, we definitely know it ricocheted off his belt. It's the legend part is that it blew off another regulator's trigger finger. Although we do know another regulator definitely lost his trigger finger in the fight. We just don't know if it was quite as fucking, Three Stooges as it's portrayed here. Mortally gut shot, Roberts then retreated to a nearby adobe house where he dragged a mattress to the doorway for cover. From that vantage point, he hit one regulator in the lung, seriously wounded another in the leg, and even managed to graze Billy the Kid's arm. Gunshot wound number 2. Woo! And that's when Dick Brewer, leader of the regulators from the beginning, decided that it was his time to shine. He took a position 125 yards away, hoping for a vantage point to take out Buckshot Roberts once and for all. What Dick didn't know, however, was that Buckshot saw him coming. Again, both men fired at the same time once Dick came out from behind cover. But while Brewer's shot totally missed, Buckshot's bullet hit the leader of the regulators directly in the left eye, blowing out the back of his skull.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's sweet.
The presidential death.
Yeah. So the regulators, figuring that they'd already lost enough, and knowing that Buckshot's gut wound would most likely kill him anyway, they rode off, leaving behind the body of Dick Brewer at Blazer's Mills, where Buckshot Roberts would also die from his gut shot the following day.
If you ever read To Hell on a Fast Horse, the breakdown of this fight is also really cool because, like, Billy the Kid was such a daring motherfucker because Buckshot Roberts obviously knew what the hell he was doing. I guess they would go on to call him that. They said that he was the bravest man that anybody had ever seen. Like this moment where it's like he just took him, like he took on the regulators alone.
So he has lore around himself as well
because of this fight.
Well, the Battle of Blazer's Mill is actually, some people say that this is the only, like when you think of the Wild West, this is the only time the Wild West actually happened.
Yes, where it was like this, where it was people hiding around cover, Billy the Kid running around around trying to get angles, and the other dude, they're all like, it's wild, it's cool, it's action.
It's interesting.
Now, after the battle at Blazers Mills, a grand jury indicted 4 regulators, including Billy the Kid, for the murder of Sheriff Brady. And they indicted 6 regulators, including Billy, for the murder of Buckshot Roberts. At the same time, though, the scales of justice were beginning to balance, or at least were trying to. So we're just covering the main battles here. But by this point, well over a dozen men had been killed in gunfights, small and large, as a result of the Lincoln County War.
Because the regulators went full guerrilla style, and they would just go and pick off people, whoever they could get. And Billy, this is where Billy the Kid's body count would rise, where it's just like, we don't know, it's all that thing. We don't know how you attribute who did what to who.
Yes.
But he was an aggressor. Like, you know that Billy the Kid was an aggressive person. So he would point dude out, being like, that's the guy held the saddle from Downtown Jimmy. And like, they go and like kill that guy.
Man. Yeah. I mean, because Billy the Kid's provable body count is 4. Yes. But, you know, in these fucking gun battles, who knows who gets the fucking final shot? Like, who knows?
Right.
It's all a mess. It's the same thing. It's just because it happens so fast. Just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. And so Jesse Evans and the boys and James Dolan were indicted for the murder of John Tunstall. But by this point, neither side really cared. For months, gun battles between the warring factions erupted time and again, and both sides forced settlers to shelter and feed them between fights. Eventually, the guy who replaced Dick Brewer as the leader of the Regulators, Frank McNabb, that guy was also killed.
Yep.
And by the time the Lincoln County War was coming to a close, Billy the Kid was in charge.
Yeah, he was the Kiefer Sutherland.
Damn.
Kiefer Sutherland played Doc Spurlock in Young Guns.
Yes, but I'm talking about the Kiefer Sutherland vehicle in the movies, where I think he was like the department in the TV show where he was the Department of the Treasury.
Survivor. You're talking about designated.
That guy.
Wait, but you can't mix up your Kiefers here, because we got Kiefers in both stories.
I'm talking about Kiefer Sutherland when he was hammered to that hotel and tackled the Christmas tree.
That's my favorite Kiefer Sutherland.
See, it's an interesting one.
Well, as we said, Billy was involved in every major battle, and he just kept getting better at fighting every single time. In addition, Billy's friends kept getting killed, and the more of his friends that died, the harder Billy would fight. And really, Billy became the leader of the Regulators just by virtue of staying alive. Ugh. By the time Billy the Kid got to be in charge, though, events were already set in motion that were bringing the Lincoln County War to an end. See, by July of 1878, 5 months after the war started, Alexander McSween, remember the lawyer from the beginning, he was tired of running and tired of fighting. See, he'd gotten word that 2 puppets of James Dolan, the district attorney and the territorial governor, were being removed from office. So McSween figured now was as good a time as any to return to Lincoln to make a final stand. But as it was, McSween jumped the gun because his enemy, James Dolan, still had friends in high places. And that indictment that James Dolan had for the murder of John Tunstall, symbolic at best. Now, Alexander McSween, who remember, was a friend of John Tunstall and had been participating in the war as an advisor from the beginning, he arrived in the town of Lincoln with 60 regulators, including Billy the Kid. On Dolan's side, there were 40 members of his faction already in Lincoln.
Because it was also at nighttime, right? They rolled in. And nobody was there yet. So they all shit and took their positions and shit. It wasn't until the morning. Like, they were like, this is it. This is the last big one.
See people closing the doors.
Yeah, like, look, this is like, it is. This is what the movies are all based on.
Get the boys inside. Get inside. Get inside.
Yeah. So both factions settled into buildings that were friendly towards their side, and so began the 5-day battle that would end the Lincoln County War for good. It's not like in the movies where it's just like, a bunch of people firing at one house. I mean, this is fucking guerrilla. It's urban warfare in the Old West.
Because the goal was, in their minds, they're like, we'll take it, this town, house by house by house. Like, what we'll do is we'll just kill and move, find out who our allies are as we're going and build up. And so that eventually, like literally, we will just occupy enough homes in this town where we will be in charge.
Just cut to the one guy being like, I just moved out here so I could have a bakery. This is different than I expected it to be. I was going to actually specialize in croissant because I didn't think there was enough croissant around.
Yes, it was a dearth of croissants, but now apparently I am a corpse.
Actually, there is going to be one of those guys. It's so fucking sad. Now, for the first 4 days, the two warring factions exchanged sporadic gunfire from their fortifications, and they only managed to hit men on the opposing sides a couple of times. These are amateur armies. These aren't guys with training, not really. In other words, it was somewhat of a stalemate. But Dolan's men knew they were outnumbered, so it was only a matter of time before the Regulators figured out a way to overtake them. So James Dolan contacted an army colonel he knew of named Nathan Gold Lace Dudley, so named because he was overly fond of accessorizing his uniforms.
Yeah, he's calling in the fucking army. He's
Yeah,
like,
he
we're
sounds
gonna have
like
the
he's
army.
calling in the fashion police.
It is. They do look like the fashion police when they show up, and the pictures of Gold Lace are really, really funny because he looks like Louis the 14th. It is really weird. Like
soldiers don't get enough respect for love and flair.
Some of them do.
and Texans as well,
Yeah,
and
right.
New Mexicans. There's a lot of flair.
It is interesting because it's such a. I just love the fucking the personalities really shine through during this time period. Like it is weird. There's a lot of individuality.
Absolutely.
That you see, like,
Well, that's one of the good things about America.
yeah.
But getting the army out to Lincoln wasn't an easy sell. So remember, this is the end of post-Civil War Reconstruction in America, and Congress had just passed the Posse Comitatus Act. Ben, would you like to tell me what the Posse Comitatus Act is?
Yeah, if you see a posse, you got to jerk it off. I'm assuming it is something to do with not recognizing posses as legal and probably deputizing or creating more of a federal government, like an FBI type situation. But I don't really know.
It was actually used quite a bit, or cited quite a bit last summer. It prevents the use of soldiers for law enforcement purposes.
Interesting.
Well, that didn't work out.
No. Yeah, and you still got to jerk those guys off.
Yeah, 1033
Be careful. Yeah, if a
program.
militia just shows up, honestly, it'd be better to try to pleasure them until a lull of excitement, and they just like get one guy out there who's willing to suck as many dicks as possible. Whoever wants to suck as many dicks as possible.
Sure.
Get them in there, calm them, kill them in their sleep.
Isn't that something? Well, very
that was
interesting.
fun. Yeah,
Thank you for teaching me that today, Marcus.
Oh, of course, but no, they of course got around that by militarizing the police instead.
Yeah. Very
Just
easy.
making
Oh, yeah.
the police
No,
a new
it's
military
worse
and a
than-
new occupying force.
It's like we have 5 armies all at once just around us.
It is one of the worst things that has ever happened to the country.
Yeah, we just now covered one of the worst things about our country. Isn't that fun?
Isn't that nice?
Well, Gold Lace Dudley found a loophole in the Posse Comitatus Act, and he agreed to come to Lincoln under the idea we're only here to protect the women and children. We're not here to participate. We're just here to make sure the women and children are safe. And if we should maybe do a couple of things in the pursuit of protecting those women and children, then so be it.
Especially when we bring heavy artillery.
Yeah. To protect the women and children, Dudley arrived with 4 officers, 11 mounted buffalo soldiers, 24 infantrymen, a 12-pound howitzer, and a fucking Gatling gun.
Yeah, dude.
Good
and the Regulators, it's really from the inside of these adobe huts where they've been now for days, right? They're in there, like it's a hard time. They have supply lines running it out, but they're getting kind of haggard. And then the scene of them watching these soldiers march through because
Are they on buffalo back? Are they riding buffaloes?
Buffalo soldier. It's black soldiers. So
There were black
buffalo
soldiers.
Buffalo soldier is a term for black army soldiers, like specifically cavalrymen. They were just known to be like the badasses of the badasses.
They're like special ops.
I have learned
Yeah,
a lot
special
today.
ops.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
But they would
Buffalo
come in.
soldiers.
That's when Buffalo soldier, you know.
No, I got it. I didn't
yeah.
expect you to do that.
I actually like that, though. Thank you for the rendition. But because they were from Gold Lace, they were all duded up. So they're watching this fancy-ass army roll into town with a Gatling gun behind them, and they're all just like, well, things have changed.
It's like a boss battle, man.
Yeah. I mean, the Gatling gun wasn't used in the Civil War quite as often as the movies portray, but Gatling gun still had a fearsome reputation, especially if you were a former Confederate soldier. Gatling gun was a Union weapon. I mean, basically, this is an early machine gun. This thing is capable of firing 3,000 rounds per minute. Woo. And the Army had brought 2,000 rounds.
Yeah.
So So when the Army showed up with a Gatling gun in tow and aimed it toward the main Regulator stronghold, 40 of the 60 Regulators fled.
Yeah.
Immediately. They hid themselves under blankets and just ran away. And
Why do I think that most Old West historians would marry a Gatling gun before a war?
And of course, this left only the most loyal people, and that included Billy the Kid. Now, Alexander McSween stayed behind too, because the main stronghold was his home, and this was McSween's fight from start to finish.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Billy didn't see any turkeys out the window. He would have been out of there.
His wife, Susan, Alexander McSween's wife, Susan, even tried going out and talking some sense into Gold Lace, but there wasn't anything she could say to make him back off. He refused to talk to her because she was a woman. Every time she tried saying something to him, he'd say, "I don't know what a woman would be doing talking to me in this situation, but I believe you should probably even go back to a kitchen."
Send a boy.
Yes, he's so much of a man. He's so straight and manly.
Oh, yeah.
He can't even talk to a woman.
No, I only talk to other big men
Yes.
in the shower.
I'm so straight.
All business is done in the bath.
Well, Susan McSween returned in failure, and soon after, Dolan's men went on the offensive. They lit McSween's house on fire using coal oil as an accelerant. And the Regulators, they managed to put out the flames a few times, but it finally got to be too much to handle.
Yeah.
Finally, the house caught fire for good, and the remaining Regulators were forced to move from room to room in the McSween house to escape the flames. And while the women and children were finally let go, McSween, the Kid, and less than a dozen Regulators were left to burn or surrender.
And there was like a moment, there's a very cinematic moment too, because the Gatling gun had to be like moved around. And like the idea of like action movie set pieces, where this idea of like, because Billy the Kid is watching this Gatling gun get repositioned again and again. And he's just like, oh, they're coming for me. Now I'm going to get the Gatling gun.
Now they're aiming at me. Oh, no.
Now, McSween at this point had lost all nerve. I mean, his entire life is going up in flames.
Right.
His wife and kids are gone. He doesn't know where the fuck they are. Like it said that he just sat there and said, "Billy, I have lost my mind." And so, as fucking McSween panicked, Billy the Kid, 18 years old at most, took charge and came up with an escape plan. 2 groups would leave under the cover of night, with Billy leading the first and McSween following with the second. The first group also included a law clerk named Harvey Morris, who had moved to New Mexico for his health and had gotten caught up in the war through simple bad luck.
And Harvey Morris is actually the great-great-great-grandfather of Slow Talking Morris.
Yes, the Holden McNeely, fantastic character that he does.
Just wanted to bake some bread.
All right, very good. Absolutely fantastic. Did the doctor recommend Harvey go where there's more dust? Why on earth would anyone go to New Mexico for their health?
The clean mountain air.
Tuberculosis, man. Yeah, you get
dry.
That's that dry mountain air.
TB?
And really, the dust didn't get too bad until the Dust Bowl, which was would be 1877, 60 years after this.
Okay.
Yeah,
50
and
years
now you
after
can get
this.
a Dust Bowl in West Hollywood. It's actually keto.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Having fun.
Well, ironically, when Billy's group burst out of the burning house, Harvey Morris, the man who moved out west for his health, was the only one shot and killed.
It's kind of like, yeah, I know.
Will I go to heaven?
Maybe don't talk. Just die, Harvey. Just want you to just die.
Well, the rest of the people in the first group, including Billy, they returned fire, fled into the darkness, and escaped both the army and Dolan's men.
Which is, it was hard, man. They were on the heels of Gatling gunfire. Like, they ran. He said it was a daring escape.
Yeah. But
Sounds like it.
But the second group, which included McSween, they waited too long to make their move.
Uh-oh.
And they were forced to take cover in the yard. At that point, a deputy named Robert Beckwith stepped forward and told the remaining regulators that he was prepared to receive their surrender. And instead, somebody, we don't know who, shot him in the fucking eye.
Yeah.
Well, that is gonna hurt our chances of survival.
Oh, yeah.
And after Beckwith was killed, the army and Dolan's men, fucking everyone opened fire. And Alexander McSween was gunned down as the physical representation of his dreams went up in flames behind him. He was the 25th and last fatality in the 5-month-long Lincoln County War. But for Billy the Kid, while the Lincoln County War was over, so too was any hope he might have had for a normal life. Remember, he's indicted for 2 murders at this point, Brady and Buckshot Roberts. But on the other hand, seems like Billy the Kid didn't want a normal life anymore.
No, man, this was the origin story he was begging for. He wanted this. This is why I really do think now we'll see Billy, the true Billy the Kid.
I don't want your life.
I had to do it.
Yeah,
he did though.
He did. He did want that life. But I think really like Billy the Kid's, what he does next tells you everything about how Billy the Kid wanted to be perceived. While the other regulators who escaped, they lit out for pastures where they didn't have to fucking worry about murder warrants. But Billy the Kid, he stayed in New Mexico for the rest of his short life. His role in the Lincoln County War had propelled him to celebrity status. And over the next couple of years, he would become the outlaw's outlaw. By the time of his death, Billy the Kid would be an American legend. And that's where we'll pick back up for the conclusion to our series on Billy the Kid.
Damn, I can't think of a series that has been more it's informative.
Yeah, I remember.
The information is absolutely fantastic in this, though. Very interesting.
It's real thick, but
informative.
Now,
Seriously, informative. Yeah, I talk for a living. Yeah. Informative.
If you want to read more about the Lincoln County War, specifically in more detail, and also in wonderful comic book form, the story of the Lincoln County War by Rick Geary is fucking great. Those of you who love like the big book series out there, Rick Geary did something in like every single one of them. He's fucking fantastic. I met the guy at Comic-Con a couple of years ago and bought it directly from him. And I talked to him about his research process. Dude lives in New Mexico, and it's a very, very well researched.
Anything, young man.
No, it must have been nice to see Marcus's smile.
He was kind of surprised to get the questions he was getting at New York Comic-Con were not the kinds that he was expecting that Saturday. No.
But seriously, next episode we're really getting into the actual, even though we've done 2 episodes, this is next is like the real meat of the Billy the Kid story and what we'd all come to know about Billy the Kid. Pat Garrett, we're gonna run into him. It's a fascinating part of history. Yeah. I want to thank everybody who have shown us fucking awesome support for our historical summers. We've been doing it. We have this theme summer. We've been doing history all summer. It's really fun.
Yeah,
we got one more historical series that we're going to do after this, and then we're getting right back into fucking Moida.
Yeah, I got did the seance last night for our Patreon members on our Discord server, and like everyone was so insanely sweet about how much they've been loving the history stuff. So thank everybody very much for all your kind words on that. We've been having a fucking blast with it.
We love this shit. You got me, man. You poisoned me. You history poisoned me.
That's been my whole fucking goal this whole time is to trick people into learning history.
Woohoo! Oh, don't expose it.
But listen, we got weirdo topics coming up too in the mix. There's little tiny little palate cleansers and all this kind of stuff. We're really excited for what we got coming up. We got live shows in Detroit, Columbus, and Cincinnati.
That's right.
Check that fucking bullshit out. Come on out and see us dance and strut and fret.
Absolutely. Get those tickets. Also, thanks to everyone who came out in Milwaukee, Des Moines, Omaha, and Minneapolis. That was just such a fantastic group, and we're really enjoying it. It is unfortunate we can't hug and touch because of the predicament, the pickle we're all currently in. But the questions that have been asked at the Q&A have been so wonderful.
It's really cool.
And everyone is so sweet. And so I just want to thank, we want to thank everyone for being so thoughtful. And for the audiences, they could not have been better.
People
so we
have been
are
really
super excited to see you all as we continue on the road this year.
People have really been responsible and cool, and we're just doing our thing, man. I'm so glad that we could still live a semblance of normal life during this time period while it is difficult to do. I also want to say, don't sleep on No Dogs and Spun, Someplace Underneath. There are some shows like right now, because Someplace Underneath is doing an incredible series right now about human trafficking in Ohio. And they've been doing really, honestly, some incredible work on that series. Like, so go check it out. They're really hustling, but listen to all the other fucking shows.
Absolutely. Check everything out here on the Last Podcast Network. You know your favorite shows. Keep on supporting them. And of course, we have
coffee.
Buy the coffee. We'll have some big news coming up here in the relatively near future. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you all.
Don't forget to go to your local comic book store and request Soul Plumber issue 1. The cutoff date for that is coming up fairly soon. So go ask them now. Ask them now.
Incredible. I can't
ask your local comic. Yes, and if you live too far away from a comic book store, that's okay. But you can read it digitally. But if you can go to your local comic book store and support your local comic book store, go and get to know your local comic book guy or gal. There's a lot of
Keep
really
a little bit
fucking
of distance.
There's a lot of really fucking awesome books going out right now, like Department of Truth and Ice Cream Man and Immortal Hulk. So go check out some shit at your local comic book store.
Yes, I'm so endlessly impressed with everything as far as that comic book. You guys are going to love it, I promise you. All right, everyone. Hope everyone is healthy and happy out there. Hail yourselves!
Hail Satan!
Hail Geen!
Magustalations!
Hail me. And I tell you what, I'd certainly be quite the desperado.
You'd be known as Peach Fuzz Zabrowski if you were in the West.
Old human vagina.
Human vagina Henry Zabrowski. You are. It's a good thing we're ending the episode.
I was in Poland. My family was in Poland at the time.
I got a good old West nickname for you. Pork Butt.
I'm fine with it. Because you know why? You have to treat the meat specially.
You tenderize
the meat.
Tenderize. Yeah, my nickname is Tenderizer.
Oh, no. This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.
Back to school season. You've got the new backpack, the folders, the 17 highlighter colors, but there's one essential that never makes the shopping list. Their pillow. And we all know better school days start with better sleep. So we've got big news. Coop Sleep Goods is running their back-to-school sale. Save 20% on the entire collection. Spend $150 or more and get a free gift. The sale starts July 28th and ends August 25th. From cooling pillows to mattress toppers that transform thin dorm room mattresses. I mean, the only thing left to blame for a bad night's sleep is their insomniac roommate. Coop's pillows are adjustable, built to fit how your kid sleeps, whether that's a twin XL dorm bed or their room at home. Spend $150 or more and get a free Ultra Tech pillow protector. Head to coopsleepgoods.com/comedy. That's COOP sleepgoods.com/comedy. 20% off plus a free pillow protector with $150 or more.
Traditional home security only alerts you after a break-in, and that's too late. Simply Safe is changing that.
Stop. This is Simply Safe. Police are on the way.
We don't just alert. We stop crime before it starts. Simply Safe. Plan starting around $1 a day. Save 50% on your new system with professional monitoring at simplysafe.com/SXM or with promo code SXM.
Outdoor deterrence requires a Simply Safe Active Guard outdoor protection plan starting at $49.99 a month. Visit simplysafe.com/licenses for alarm license information. Tennessee 2012.